Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by TJS Ceramics, Posh Boutique in the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in T, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Thank you, Zach Thresh. Man, did we have a great show last Friday at Boss's Comedy Club. Zach was the headliner while I was the feature act. Emily Wilson was host and opener, and boy, did she nail it. Speaking of Emily, she and I will be hosting another Vaughties show as the Vaughties presents Lucky Seven's variety show next Friday, 7 p.m. on the 7th day of the 7th month. Yeah, clever, right? Lucky Sevens. And who knows, you might be lucky. We've got some prizes that we'll be giving away as well. And this is going to take place out at Wild Prairie Winery near Brandon. Scheduled acts and advance ticket sales available at thevaughties.com, and that's TheVaudies.com, or follow The Vaughties on Facebook and scan the QR code that's on the poster. One other announcement to pass along. Hinted at it earlier this year, it's finally going to happen. In the middle of August, we will start featuring individual Sioux Falls Arts Council microgrant winners, and that's going to be fun. Lots of great stuff going on there. All right, so later in the show, we'll find out what it was like playing an iconic role from Madi Gerhart, who just wrapped up playing Sandy in the premiere Playhouse production of Grease. Coming up in a few minutes, Bare Bodkins Theatre's production of Romeo and Juliet starts tonight in Falls Park. Director Jayna Fitzsimmons gives us the details as we talk Shakespeare. Plus, we'll tell you who or what gets this week's honorable mention, as well as choose another winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Oh, lift them high, and you might be lifting them for a few days, I have the feeling, because next Tuesday is the 4th of July, so I wanted to get this in before we had our next episode. Independence Day, we the people. Well, enjoy what for many of you will be an extended weekend, but be safe, enjoy the fireworks, eat heartily, but first and foremost, be thankful for your freedom. That is something definitely to toast. Weekend Eve Toast is brought to you by The Sky in T. Boy, I tell you what, they toast a lot down there. The Sky provides all caps fun. That is best had with friends. Have fun playing darts or shooting pool. Have fun listening to great live music from local musicians, or have fun singing at karaoke. Maybe you need more room to hold a company party. Perhaps you got a benefit of some sort going on. Sky's big back room fits that bill. No matter what's going on at the Sky, it's local and it's lively. It is time to choose a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook or Instagram is automatically entered to win a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. We pick a winner each week, and this week we say congratulations to Colin McKenzie. We'll be in touch with you, C-Mac, to get you all set up with some jowl-dropping, show-stopping, thin-crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster is brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria, right across from USF at 26th and Waltz, and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, sonnyspizzeria.com. Honorable mention. Oh, I tell you, the choices were plentiful for things that made me happy in the local A&E scene this past week. But I'm giving the nod to the show biz side this week. The Washington Pavilion announced this week that patrons can now go online at one place to get tickets to the Washington Pavilion events, as well as shows at the Orpheum and the South Dakota Military Heritage Alliance. The website is 3encore.com. So 3 and then ENCORE.com. Thank you, WashPav. We appreciate it. Later on, we hear from actor Madi Gerhart. Up next, director Jayna Fitzsimmons on the Dave Holly Hour.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes through the Sioux Falls Community Education Program and special open studio nights every Thursday evening. Bisque, studio time, or finished custom items are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in Sioux Falls today.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
For him, every day is a holiday. Here again, Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everyone. Yes, you know, I love to say at the beginning of every conversation, it's such a pleasure to talk about Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. And I always know that at least once a year, we're going to hook up with Jayna Fitzsimmons, who has been on the show prior. And welcome back, first of all.
Thank you.
Yes, and this being a Thursday means that in the summer, it's time for some Shakespeare.
It is.
Yeah, Bare Bodkins Theatre is opening tonight, and I don't know if there's a statistic, and I didn't have time to look it up, but I am thinking that of all the Shakespeare plays, Romeo and Juliet is probably the most recognizable because of how many high schools maybe not have done the production, but probably in lit class, read the play, and how many sitcoms have used it as a basis for one of their episodes before. Yes. And so that obviously means that there's been all sorts of different takes on Romeo and Juliet, but how is Bare Bodkins going to do that outside and put the Bare Bodkins spin on it?
Yeah. Oh, we've really enjoyed working on this play. And like you said, when a play is so recognizable, when so many people have had contact with it, either in their studies or as actors or performers themselves, or just like in pop culture, right? It's always, kind of a challenge to work with one of those scripts and to put our own kind of spin on it and to help audiences access it in a new way. But like you said, we have our signature Bare Bodkins style that we bring to it. Yeah. And so what audiences can expect from our Romeo and Juliet is an accessible version that has a small cast of actors that double to play all of the parts. And we ask our audiences to use their imagination quite a lot with us because we have a really bare bones approach to staging. So we use really minimal set and prop and costume pieces. And we ask our audience to imagine things along with us. We involve our audience in numerous ways. The actors are so close to the audience. We're kind of all together there in the beautiful Queen Bee Mill. And yeah, so that's kind of how we will be putting our spin on the story is, just to bring it to life in all of its kind of beauty. And, it's a classic for a reason.
That's for sure. And so looking forward to that. Again, it starts up tonight. You mentioned Queen Bee Mill. That's in, for those that maybe aren't familiar, it's a part of Falls Park. It is a free show.
Yes.
Now, do you still like people to kind of RSVP just so you get an idea, or
no
it's
RSVP needed.
It's just first come, first serve on
Yeah,
this?
everybody's invited,
All right.
and you just show up. So that's kind of the beauty. The beautiful thing is you don't need tickets. You don't have to pay. You just come to the gates of the Queen Bee Mill. We start handing out free tickets at 6:00 before every show. We open the gates for seating at 6:30, so audience members can get settled in. We ask folks to bring their own lawn chairs or blankets to sit in, so they can be really comfortable. We don't have bleachers in the space this year. And so, yeah, that's kind of been a new change over the past couple of years. People really like sitting in comfortable lawn chairs and not on metal bleachers. So I can't say I blame them.
Well, for one thing, depending upon how sunny it gets,
right,
it might be better that way too.
Yes.
That something's not on metal,
right? Exactly,
to make it
exactly.
more comfortable.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to play Mr. Sarcasm here.
Okay.
Couldn't you get some good actors in this?
I know. What a bummer it's been.
Loaded cast.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. Tell us about everybody and what they're doing.
Yeah,
with this.
we have an absolutely outstanding cast. I mean, I consider myself lucky every year. We have wonderful actors come out to audition for us. It's always so fun to see just the incredible range of talent that we have in our area, in our region. And this year, it's just been so exciting to work with. Like you said, loaded cast. It's been a dream. So as Romeo and Juliet, we have Tatiana Chance, who's playing Juliet. Marisa Mosier playing Romeo. I know. And Marisa's new to us this year. This is her Bare Bodkins debut.
Wow. I think she's hit most of the theaters now.
I think so too.
Yeah, maybe one that's missing, but
they are definitely a favorite on the Sioux Falls stage. So we are really excited to get to work with Marisa, and they are just electric together as the title characters. We also have returning Bare Bodkins kind of favorites, folks like Jeff Larson, Debbie Jones, Ryan Howe, Nolan Whiff is back this year, and then another new face is Betty Kay Merkel, who's kind of a new face in Sioux Falls, but has like made a big splash already.
Has she ever? Yeah.
Yeah. And then also we have returning our fight choreographer, Dakota Driver, who's back with us. He's kind of visiting the area again. He's out in LA now, but has joined us again this year to stage
fantastic.
our fights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gives you a little leeway without having to block that part, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, and of course it's all a collaboration, and he and I, I feel like we have a really strong partnership when we're kind of staging the fights and storytelling that way, because it's all kind of a part of the larger vision and the larger storytelling. But it is wonderful to kind of say, okay, here's kind of what needs to happen in this fight, or here's the story that's being told, and then just see how he works his magic with how he works with the actors.
And some of your actors have directing experience as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really it's been such a fun process to work with such a talented group, folks that really understand, kind of what it is that we're doing, really understand the kind of mission and the kind of goals of accessibility and clear storytelling that we have. And it's been such a fun collaborative process because I can bring an idea to rehearsal as the director and just watch them run with it. So it's really great. I feel like oftentimes my role is like planting a seed and then I just watch it totally bloom in an hours of rehearsal, and it's just fantastic.
All right, so when did you start rehearsing then?
We started rehearsing at the beginning of the month. So we have a really short rehearsal process. That's kind of another thing. Bare Bodkins embraces what's called original practice Shakespeare production. So we kind of think about doing Shakespeare in the way that Shakespeare was done during Shakespeare's own time. And one of the things that was a production practice way back then was a shorter rehearsal process. So that's what we embrace. And we know that people are really busy in the summer. And, when you have folks like this in the cast, they're all involved with other things and they all have their own theater companies. And, so we really have them for a short amount of time and we really make the most of our time together.
All right. So you mentioned going back to the way Shakespeare would have done things, but yet you always have it modernized too.
Yes.
So what part of modernization will we see and recognize and go, Oh, great way to tie that in.
Yeah, I think, something that I am always excited about year after year is, how we can kind of, have a conversation with historical production. When we think about Shakespeare being done in the 15 and 1600s, women weren't allowed to be part of, public theater performances. And so now we get to kind of do whatever we want in terms of the gender of the actors.
How ironic, right?
Yeah.
Because in his time, Romeo might have been playing a Juliet too.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So there's, so we get to kind of have that conversation with history. And that's something that I always think is a fun way to bring the stories into our own time and to also kind of shine a light on some of the dynamics in the play that exist. And so we have actors of all gender in our cast playing characters of all genders. And so that's something that I always look forward to, kind of how we can creatively tell stories that way. Also, I always have so much fun figuring out the doubling, meaning what actors are going to play which characters and how they're going to switch between those characters. And so that's another kind of nod to historical production practice that we always have a lot of fun with today.
Yeah, I always think in terms of the productions that you do with Bare Bodkins, I think of Debbie Jones and how well she switches back and forth between characters.
Yes.
And I've seen Marisa play different characters, but I'm really going to be interested to see her approach it like that. And, I kind of have the feeling maybe there's going to be a little bit of Debbie-ism in that.
Yeah. And this is and Debbie is incredibly gifted, and you will see her have many opportunities to do those really fast character changes that she excels at. Marisa gets to double a little less because they are playing Romeo. And
kind of a heavy duty part there.
Yes. Marisa is busy and has a lot to do and say in this play. So, but my goal is always that every actor doubles at least a little bit. And so you'll see Marisa play another character as well. And yeah, just kind of how the characters speak to one another. And one of my favorite bits of doubling in this production is that the actor who plays Juliet, Tatiana Chance, also plays the apothecary later in the play that gives Romeo the poison that will be his untimely end. So it's kind of, audiences can make those connections between the characters in kind of fun ways.
Oh, no doubt. That's fantastic. I love it. So it starts up tonight. What are the other dates that'll be running?
Yeah, so we run through July 2nd, and then we take a little break, and then we have the second half of our run is July 6th through the 9th. Yeah. And our shows start at 7:00.
Yeah.
That's
one thing that always stays pretty similar from year to year.
Yep.
So, most people go, Romeo, and they know that as a line.
Yes.
Okay. What's your favorite line?
Oh, there are so many.
Give us a top list then.
Okay. Yeah, this is such a fun play because there's so many iconic lines. There are those lines that you'll sit in the audience and you'll pretty much be able to say along with the actors, which is always fun. But one of my favorite characters in this play is Friar Lawrence. This is, Romeo's kind of mentor. And Friar Lawrence is often the voice of reason, not always, but often the voice of reason in this play. And Friar Lawrence is played by Nolan Whiff, who's fantastic. And he's often kind of giving advice. And I think some of the best advice and one of the prettiest lines is at a certain point he says to Romeo, "Be patient. The world is broad and wide." So no reason to fly off the handle, be measured. And I just think that's such a wonderful Shakespeare line to think about, especially in how we know this play goes. This is advice that's not exactly adhered to, but it's a gorgeous line.
So we're all familiar with the fact that the Shakespeare just continues no matter what century it is, no matter where we are in the time frame. Do you often sit there and think, man, this guy was ahead of his time because of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's something about Shakespeare's plays, obviously, that really pull us in even today. And I think the skill of his writing, the output that he was able to achieve, just the number of plays and the number of works that we have, I think that it makes him just so at home in our time as well. And so, yeah, I think definitely ahead of his time, definitely, you know, a genius of his time and beyond. And it's just so fun to get to work with his writing with such a fantastic group of people every year.
And wow, like I said, loaded up cast on this one. Oh, goodness gracious. So very much looking forward, if nothing else, just to that.
Yeah.
You know, I always look forward to how the spin on a classic is going to be done, how it's going to be modernized and that. But wow, when I saw that cast list.
I know. I'm so lucky.
Are we thinking ahead to next year? Do you already know what might be coming down the line?
I don't know what's coming down the line next year. We're always kind of thinking ahead, but what it comes down to, every year we kind of have to look at who's around, who is like kind of in the area, and what makes sense. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Romeo and Juliet came around this year. Our company is kind of younger at the moment, and so yeah, we had a good opportunity to feature, you know, kind of a cast of some up and coming folks. But yeah, it's always, you know, it's always fun to think about what could be, but we don't have an answer for what's to come next year yet. And you know what? If I did, Dave, I don't know if I'd tell you.
I was just, see, that's one of those when it comes to upcoming projects, and I know people want to keep quiet. I still ask it just in case they might slip up, you know, like Nancy Halverson from the Levitt before the schedule comes out. So what can we expect? You know? Well, so it never comes around that way, but always such a great time to see, well, first of all, to see a Shakespearean work. Second of all, to see Bare Bodkins present that. Third of all, where you do it.
Yeah.
Falls Park, you know, what an absolutely great setting for that. And I know that the Fullers, when they first started, you know, put it there, and you've continued that and so forth. But what is your favorite part about performing there? Or directing in your case?
Yes, directing these days. I started off as a performer with Bare Bodkins many years ago, but so I have that perspective in my memory too. But you know, like you said, it is just such a special place. It is, I think, one of the most beautiful places in our city, and one of the most beautiful places to perform. It just, the magic comes alive when it becomes a performance venue. And one of my favorite things every year is just walking in the gates for the first time. It's like coming home. It's just such a welcoming environment. And in directing in that space, I really just love how intimate it is. It's a large space, but when we get our audience in there, and our audience sits on three sides, so we're kind of performing kind of 3/4 in the round. And it's just such a special environment where you're kind of close enough to touch the actors on stage. You know, we don't really have a backstage, so you kind of see the whole kind of process. You see the whole production, what's in front of you. And also, if you kind of take a look over your shoulder, you're going to see someone maybe like picking up their prop for the next scene or getting ready to go on. So I think that a lot of the barriers that we have in traditional theater settings, and that are there for perfectly good reasons, we get to kind of let those go in an outdoor space. And it's just such a great way to interact with the work and to enjoy some beautiful, beautiful evenings out in our beautiful parks.
You ever think of doing the directing and the acting at the same time?
Oh my gosh. You know, I
miss seeing you on stage.
Oh, well, and I love being on stage. And that's something that, you know, we've kind of been talking about. And so maybe in coming years, that'll be something where I can kind of hand off the directing responsibilities and return to a performance role. But yeah, we'll have to get the timing just right with that, because I do love directing. That is what I consider my artistic home now. But my gosh, it is fun to perform Shakespeare, and it is so fun to perform out there.
At what age did you fall in love with Shakespeare?
Oh man, I fell in love with Shakespeare probably when I was 12 or 13. And maybe I've told you this before, Dave, but I what did it for me was seeing the Emma Thompson, Kenneth Branagh version of Much Ado About Nothing on like HBO. And I was like, what is this? You know, it's just sort of like opened up this new world to me, and it was so fun and clear. And you know, I've always loved reading, and I've always loved theater, and my parents are so wonderful, and they've always encouraged me in that. And so, my gosh, I remember the day my dad brought me home a complete work works of Shakespeare that he just kind of found.
Well done, Dad.
Yes, Dad. And it was so exciting to have that, and to read the plays, and then of course to go to high school and get to study them even more, go to college and get to study them with wonderful professors, and and beyond, and grad school
at a very great
at
educational
a institution.
Yes, no doubt about that. Southwest Minnesota State University.
Yes, so we share our
Yes,
alma
we do.
mater
They all
very
are.
proudly.
So at what point was it then when the Fullers left and you took over?
Yeah, so I became the
what
artistic
kind of a jump was that for you to take over the company?
It was, it felt really natural. It felt like, just kind of the next step. Like I said, I had been a performer and director with the company for many years, or several years at that point. And so, I became the artistic director in 2010. And that also kind of coincided with when I began teaching at Augustana. I had finished my master's degree. It was so like, it just felt like it worked. And stepping into that role was so liberating. And it was just so fun to get to kind of put my own spin and my own mark on this company, for the past 11 years.
What did you learn from them? I mean, they're such great, first of all, they're great human beings. But the talent that they have for acting and directing as well was just phenomenal. So what was it from them that you said, ooh, I got to keep this in mind when I get this?
Yeah, I think it's just, a love of the work. And that's something that, it's so necessary to doing this, that you just really have to love it. You have to love every part of it. And, I know that when they, left and moved on, they were ready to do that. Like that, they were excited for the next step, and we were all excited for them. And to kind of have that excitement of my own to grow into the role, I think was really, really a gift.
All right. Well, you mentioned, that you happen to work at Augustana.
I do.
Wow. We saw Drowsy Chaperone and then the last production as well, and just absolutely loved him. But Drowsy Chaperone especially. What an amazing production.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because I sat there and it's like, okay, I can see where this is going. I like the retro stuff, playing. And, back then, if you did get a soundtrack of a musical, it actually had the dialogue in it and so forth.
Yes.
It wasn't just what the individual songs were. And so the whole thing written so well and choreographed so well. And I think what I really just loved about this is that with all those cast members, every one of them was in something big at some point in that production. How did you get it all done?
That was such a fun collaboration. And I just want to say, you mentioned the choreography, and the choreographer was Lisa Conlon, who is just wonderful.
Love her.
Oh my gosh. I mean, incredible. And I just love how she works with dancers and actors. And it was just such a gift to work together on that. But yeah, the way we got it done was by collaborating, right? Everybody had their kind of task. And then, as the director, kind of being the person who's like looking at all of these moving parts and kind of helping them come together. And so that was a collaboration with our newly founded School of Music at Augustana. And it was
an interesting place where they played from in that as well.
So we always have to be creative in our kind of odd theater. We have this like really cool performance space, but it is like a challenge to have a live band in there with us. And so that's one of the reasons why in recent years we've used pre-recorded music. And so this was like kind of the return of a live musical accompaniment to our musical theater offering. And it was just so fun to work with Pete Folliard and to have that collaboration with the Department of Music and Russell Svenningson. And like the cast was so ready for something like that. Our students were just so right there. And without them being completely committed to the project and being so excited and just taking on these like kind of wacky and wonderful characters, we wouldn't have been able to achieve the project. So.
I'm very curious about one of the leads. Did he know how to roller skate prior?
No.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So Dave was talking about a part in the play where one of the actors has to roller skate blindfolded, no less. And this is a wonderful actor, a student actor named Scott Schlanta, and he learned to roller skate. He learned to tap dance also for that role. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's something that I think is really great about Augie Theater is that we just like, if you can't do it when you start, you'll do it by the time we'll teach you how.
You're going to be noted.
Yeah, but he was really committed to that role and learned a lot of really fun new things.
Yeah, well, I would have thought he'd been roller skating for years.
Yeah, he became a master.
It was fantastic to watch, and made you also go,
yes,
because he came close to the end of the stage here a few times. It's like,
yes, a little suspense.
Yeah. What is fun about being a professor of theater?
What's not fun? I mean, really, the fun outweighs the not fun, for sure. But I think the best thing is just working with such wonderful students, wonderful colleagues, and, getting to think about big ideas together and to tell stories together. It's just, a really rewarding job, and I get to learn new things all the time. I get to meet new people all the time. And so it just feels so different year to year. And I love that variety.
Yeah. And obviously some of them go on to be in summer Shakespeare things with Bare Bodkins.
It just so happens that I get to see some of my favorite students, right, all year round.
So I'll ask it again, except now for Augie. What's coming up next year?
Ooh, okay. We have a nice lineup next year. So we're going to start with our new play festival. We do this every other year. It's one of my very favorite things, where it's 3 nights of different new play offerings. Mm-hmm. So we invite a regional playwright to join us. We do readings of their work. We spotlight student work, and then we have our 24-hour play, which is always delightful and weird and sleep deprived, and it's a treat. So that's our students kind of put together short plays over the course of fewer than 24 hours. So that's our first kind of fall slot on the main stage. After that, we are doing a really cool collaboration for a production of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that we are collaborating with Dakota Players and Lifescapes for an all abilities performance. Yeah, so it'll be a really cool collaboration, and I can't wait. And then in the spring, we'll have the premiere of a new play called This Is My Body that's written by Richard Swanson, a playwright and actor that we know and love, that he's collaborated with 2 student playwrights also. And we've been workshopping that over the last year or so. So that'll be first in the spring. And then our final performance will be the musical, the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee.
Oh, very cool. Lots of great stuff coming up.
Yes.
And like you said, when I asked you about, what's the best part about being a professor, just the variety of everything and such great stuff. All right. So let's plug Bare Bodkins, Romeo and Juliet again, starting up tonight. You can get your free tickets starting at 6. Gates, quote unquote, open at 6:30, and then the show starts at 7. Get your lawn chair and your body down there to enjoy some great talent, and then it continues through this weekend and then also next, correct?
Yes, the 6th through the 9th will finish up, but we look forward to seeing everyone out at the Queen Bee Mill.
At Falls Park. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. All right, the traditional questions, and I should have these memorized by now with you. I know you have lots of dogs. Yeah. All right. Besides that, what else keeps you occupied when you're not part of arts and entertainment?
Oh, well, a big thing that has kept me occupied is I've been working on my doctorate, and I just finished. So I am a doctor.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. So that's been kind of a big thing that, this summer is kind of my first summer off in a way. So I'm finding new things to occupy my time, which is exciting to have a little bit more time for, hobbies and friends and family and things when all of my time has been consumed with writing and researching.
And have we found some hobbies then?
Well, I'm working on it.
You're working on that. What's at the top of the list? I think this would be fun.
I think that just resting, kind of doing nothing has been kind of fun to try a little bit of.
That's a good one. But I am a pro at that one.
I know. I am like a beginner at that one.
Thanks.
So I'm trying. You'll have to give me some advice there. But no, I mean, I think that, and every summer I just love spending time in the garden, spending time with the dogs. And we have a new little puppy, Fitzsimmons at our house now.
Oh,
so
my.
yes, a new
What kind?
addition, a dachshund, not surprising because we have the long and low dogs at our house. But yes, Clover Fitzsimmons is a new addition, and she's
Clover.
yes,
I like it.
she's a
That's a good one.
delight.
Oh,
Yes.
excellent. All right, Jayna, it's always been a great pleasure to have you in on the show, and I believe first time here at the Dipsy Doodle production studio.
Yes,
isn't it?
what a cool studio! What a cool place!
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it was like exactly 1 year ago. This is sort of our day
True.
that we.
Yeah.
So I was here. We were on the podcast.
I didn't even think of it that way, but
Yes.
you are right. Yeah. All right.
It's scheduled.
All right. So Bare Bodkins Theatre, Augustana Theatre. It's wonderful that you are so involved. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.
And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at Exo Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation. 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. Exo Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I gotta find some other ways to say it, don't I? But it always makes you wonder now. Well, Dave always says, it's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. How's he going to do it this time? Well, this time I get to welcome a new guest to the program. Fresh off of playing Sandy in Grease, it's Madi Gerhart. How are you, Maddie?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. So good to see you, and it was great to see you on stage. We caught the first weekend, but you had 2 weekends here. So you've rested?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was so busy for a few weeks there, and it was just nice to be able to relax a little bit these past few nights.
Yeah, the people that aren't involved in local theater and don't understand the commitment that goes into it, because when did you start rehearsing? Probably 6-8 weeks ago?
Yeah, about 8 weeks ago.
Wow.
Fresh from Cinderella. We overlapped
That's
our
right.
rehearsals and our performances. So during Cinderella performances, we were actually starting rehearsals for Grease. And
yeah, and there were a few of you that had to do that then, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's not uncommon for that to take place.
Correct.
So what was it like to take on an iconic role?
Oh my gosh. I talked about this on the news as well. It's, I mean, just growing up watching the movie all the time, you see Olivia Newton-John as someone who is just so incredible and amazing, and she does a great job in the movie, but taking on the role in the musical, it's like, I had no words when I found out that I was Sandy. I cried. I called my mom. I didn't know what to do. And, working with Oliver and everything to kind of figure out how to take on that role has been incredible.
Is that the role that you auditioned for?
Yes. Yep. I auditioned for, I got a call back for Marty as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted Sandy. I mean, it was my dream role for the longest time. So.
Well, and you got it and you nailed it. It was a fantastic performance. Really, really enjoyed it. Different to see you as a blonde, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is there a point when you put on a wig and get into your costume, get made up and so forth, that Maddie suddenly is Sandy?
Definitely when I put on that wig. That was the last thing that I would do before every performance. I'd have my makeup on, I'd have my costume on, but the second I put that wig on, it was Sandy.
So interesting to see that, but it's been good to see you on stage quite a bit.
Yeah,
because
oh my gosh.
Really, in the past year, you've been very busy, haven't you?
Yes, I actually, my first ever production was back when we were Sioux Empire Community Theater,
Mhm.
and that was Mamma Mia. But I took a break for a while there because I was in high school at the time, and I was in show choir, and then I started college and I was in choir. But cabaret is when I really stepped out of my
Yeah.
comfort zone. I was the youngest in the cast by a few years, and it was definitely a learning experience. I was a swing for all the Kit Kat
Mhm.
dancers. I got to go on stage twice. And then I jumped right back into it with Young Frankenstein and Cinderella. And it was just such a good, I'm glad that I had the opportunity that I did to be a swing and to be an understudy before I was
Right.
in an actual big role, because I feel like that would have been almost too big of a step.
Yeah, and let's talk about that step then, because you have done some understudy work.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to taking that on right off the top, when you get the big role, there's a lot of pressure, responsibility, demand to be great in something like that. How did you face that?
Oh my gosh. It was really scary opening night. I'm like, this is a show that everyone knows, that everyone loves. And I know that people are there to watch us, and 95% of the people in the crowd would not have the guts to do the same thing on the stage. So it's like,
I use that a lot.
Really?
A friend
Oh
told
my
me that
gosh.
95% of the people that are watching us would never have the chutzpah to be up on
Oh,
stage and do this. So
I
they're
say
going to
that
love
all the
you.
time. That's too funny. But yeah, it's just, it's incredible, that feeling when you finally finish that first show in front of an audience, and you get that either standing ovation or cheers and yells, and you have your whole family there supporting you. And then that's when you finally realize that, like, all that hard work and all the work that you put in has really paid off. And it's just incredible.
Who was the favorite person for you to work with on this?
Oh my gosh, 100% Ted Van Alstyne. He was an incredible Danny.
Mhm.
Not only that, he was one of my best friends throughout the entire show. There were many tears shed, especially after Hopelessly Devoted on that closing night. He was just waiting at the bottom of the stairs to give me a huge hug, and he's just the best of friends.
Well, I think that was a comment that I made to you after we had seen the show.
Mm-hmm.
Was, almost every aspect of this production was top notch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the tech, the lighting, and the fun that they got to have with that, the band being in that, and just fantastic. But I was blown away, not just by acting and choreography, which as well were great, but the singing of everybody.
Oh my gosh.
And how many different people had, great singing parts.
Right.
Yeah. And it was just so fun to see that. How's that feel on stage when you're trying to concentrate on what you're singing, and all of a sudden here's everybody else around you that starts up too?
Oh my gosh. First of all, like, with everyone being such incredible singers, it is so hard to compete with that. I mean, you want the audience's attention, and you want that that glory on the stage, but it is incredible to just be surrounded by so many people who are so incredibly talented. I mean, who would have known that little Sioux Falls, South Dakota had so many talented people? But that was actually one of the things that I struggled with the most was during Raining on Prom night. It was hard for me to keep singing while listening to Becky as well. The incredible job that she does. But it was so hard for me to keep singing because I kept wanting to listen. And then I'm used to usually being like the background vocals. And so it's like, it was definitely a process, but it's a different feeling.
Right. First time as a lead in a musical?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So really having to concentrate on the solos and the duets and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It takes quite a bit of effort, no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so take us through the rehearsal process. You talked about it being, like 8 weeks ago, you were overlapping with Cinderella at the same time. But at what point did you just start doing the reads, and when did the blocking come in? When did the music all come together? And then when do you start dancing after all that?
So we started with a full run through of the show. Just kind of, we sat in a circle and we all just read our parts and, did our part. And then we moved into the music. It was a lot of music for the first few weeks because obviously we have to learn our solos and we have to get all the harmonies and everything figured out. But then after that, we stepped into the acting and blocking every single scene. We went through step by step, and Oliver did a great job at walking me through that because I've never had like a speaking part in my career as an actress. And so it's like I was stepping into a completely new role in a completely new just world of acting, and it was incredible to learn. But after that, we kind of started integrating the choreography. We learned everything separately before we started putting it together.
Okay.
But I was kind of sad because I didn't get much choreography, and I love dancing, but I really only got to dance in the last few songs, which is really sad. But it was so much fun watching other individuals learn, and just even learning along with them, stepping in for other people who may have been missing at rehearsals and such. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's always wonderful working with Megan and Oliver, of course, and even Casey. He walked us through a lot of that comedic stuff, but it was an interesting process. I mean, it's very intricate and it's very down, like deep. Like you get into the deep, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's great just being able to break down those scenes and really, really dig into it.
Well, I guess that's the one thing about a musical that I've always been intrigued by is it's not just acting, it's not just dancing, it's not just music, it's all three. You put it all together, and it's just amazing to watch, and it was such a beautiful production. Besides being just a great fun production, in terms of where you want to go now that you've had a lead role, what's next on your agenda?
Oh boy. Next step is the Little Mermaid auditions, which are coming up, I believe, in August. I'm not exactly sure. That's what I'm assuming. But I'm going for Ariel in that. But I would really like to also try out for Flounder. So we'll see where that goes. But I just can't wait to see people step into those roles. Ursula will be an awesome one. I'm hoping Casey tries out for that one because she is just amazing. She has an incredible voice. She'd be perfect. And just seeing people from even Cinderella come back from past productions, new people, always meeting new people is fun. And then hopefully I'll be around for Oklahoma. I'd love to try out for Oklahoma and probably Hair as well. But, just it's
You're pretty well looking at the whole season.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been fun just like learning new shows because everyone knows like the basics, even like Cinderella and the Little Mermaid, but people haven't heard these versions before. So it's a little different, but it's just fun just being fully integrated into the musical theater and just theater in general community.
Were you first excited about being in music, or were you a child that grew up and said, "Ooh, this acting thing looks kind of fun"?
So
what hit first?
Music for sure. My mom tells me all the time how she sang to me while I was in the bathtub, and I would sing back to her. But she was a piano teacher for a while, and she really got me into singing. I mean, my favorite movies when I was younger were Phantom of the Opera and Mamma Mia. So if that says anything about me, I don't know what does. But she has really been the one to motivate me my whole life. When I was in show choir, when I was in church choir, any choir at all, just any musical aspects of my life have come from those moments when I was a little child. And just being able to sing, I sing all the time with my mom when I go home. I mean, she plays piano beautifully, and so it's just music was definitely the first to come. Acting, I've kind of been dramatic my whole life, so it kind of came a little bit easier. But
what about drama? Have you done any drama, or is that something that's on the bucket list as well?
I have.
I hate to say bucket list, considering how young you are. But I just meant check it off the list of everything you want to do in your acting and performance career.
I really have wanted to learn more just about acting in general. I tried getting into it in high school, but it just wasn't working out for me. I was still really focused on show choir, singing and dancing, and so I haven't really I'm just now starting to learn about how to dramatize things, and I'm really mellowing out as a person, and so I think I'm just need to kind of get back into that that groove. But I'm hoping to learn a lot more about the acting aspect, because I think it's just wonderful how people can manipulate the audience feelings, and just it's wonderful. It's awesome watching people on stage, even like when understudies go on for us. It's just incredible just watching them.
That is an incredible thing, an understudy. When they get the opportunity to get on stage then. And it's very tough if you've been around the production the whole time to go, well, how good was it? Who's better? It's tough
Right.
not to,
Right.
but we're so blessed that luckily we can say, oh, they both did great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we see that so often, but to be, because you're usually, if you're an understudy, you're typically in an ensemble, a chorus,
Mhm.
or something along that line, and then all of a sudden, well, so-and-so's sick tonight. Guess what? You're on.
Yep.
And then you've got to take everything that you were thinking of. Maybe, you're so into the show that it's pretty, just you're going to do it by rote when you get out there. And now you got to change your mind.
Right. Right. And it's a completely new world. I mean, when I was in Cabaret, I got to go on opening night as
Mhm.
Lulu. Maddie Lukomsky went on as Sally Bowles. She did beautifully. It's scary. I mean, for Young Frankenstein, I had, I think, an hour's notice before we started getting ready. And, Alex, she was getting sick
Right.
and she tried warming up and then it just wasn't working out. And I had maybe 20 minutes for them to be like, okay,
Ooh.
you're going on, get your pink wig on. And I'm
Yeah.
like, holy cow, I don't know what I'm doing. And so they did run through some of the scenes and stuff with me, like the bookcase scene and like all those kind of technical things that I
Right.
needed. But other than that, it was, I mean, when Malia had to go on for Barry as
Mhm.
the doctor, I mean, they did it amazing. And it's just incredible to work around other understudies as well. I mean, Abby was my understudy for Sandy, and she was also Frenchie's understudy, and she went on for Frenchie for our pickup rehearsal, and she did
Mhm.
wonderfully. I mean, it's just so incredible to have even Abby work under me, and I still learn from her all the time the way that she does scenes. I can kind of take something away from that, and it's awesome. It's a huge learning experience for sure.
What was your favorite song in Grease?
Oh gosh, either Sandy.
Mhm.
Ted did a wonderful job, so emotional. But of my own, I would say probably "Hopelessly Devoted." It was a very emotional song for
Right.
me. Really resonated just with my life and my past and everything. It's just like it was such an incredible experience, and just growing up singing that song, it's so different when you're center stage and you're staring out into this audience and they're just cheering you on. It's awesome.
All right. So what was the most fun song?
The most fun song, You're the One That I Want,
Yeah.
probably would be the most fun song. The most fun one to watch was Hand Jive. I would watch that from the side of the stage,
Right.
and it just looked like they were having so much fun.
What do you hope you can bring to the next production you're in
Just,
after having been a lead?
That different perspective.
Mhm.
I mean, being in the ensemble is so incredible, just watching people grow on stage and bloom, but it's also incredible watching the ensemble do the same thing. I mean, you don't really realize it when you're in that part, but just the amount of support that you can give to those leads, even when they're new to it, like I was. I mean, I felt the immense amount of support that people gave me, and it was just like something I've never experienced before, but I realized I was doing the same thing when I was in the ensemble. I mean, it's incredible, and just having that power behind you, it just makes the show so much better.
It was a very enjoyable production from start to end. And of course, that end means that it's now over for you.
Mhm.
But you already talked about some of the things that you want to get done besides that. In terms of who you look up to, and that can be locally or it can be on a big star-studded cast of some sort, who do you like as a female lead in a drama, and who do you like as a female lead in a musical?
Oh goodness. There are so many people that I could choose. Well, I think in both aspects, Casey Schultz, 100%. She is an incredible actress. She has all the drama in every good way possible. An incredible voice. She is just like an incredible dancer.
Yes.
She is all throughout the community, always around, always helping, always there for you. Definitely a shoulder to cry on, that's for sure. I can tell you that. But she is just an incredible human being as well. She is someone to talk to, and she is just, I don't even have words. She is just amazing, and I look up to her in every single way. I've looked up to her since Cabaret. I mean, she's like a big sister to me.
And I would add the words damn fun.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean,
she's a kick to be around.
Yeah, you can just like we've walked around downtown, we've gotten food, we've gone out to eat, and it's just, she's always fun. She brings the fun to every place, and it's just, she's incredible.
Yep, no doubt about that. All right, so then on the big star Hollywood people or Broadway people and so forth, who do you think is tops there?
Oh gosh, I honestly would not even be able to tell you. There's so many incredible female artists out there right now. Music wise, like just female empowerment with like SZA. I can't even think of anyone else right now. As far as Broadway goes, I wouldn't be able to tell you either.
Yeah.
I haven't been immersed enough into the theater world, and it's so hard to get into that stuff when you're not seeing it live and you're not around those people. But
all right, so what level would you put yourself at in terms of being in the theater? Are you a novice, beginner, intermediate? What do you want to call yourself?
I'd say total beginner.
Still, after 4 shows,
maybe
in the past year?
maybe intermediate, like brushing the surface of intermediate.
Okay.
Like I said, in high school, I was a show choir kid. I was into choir, but I never was like opened up to theater, and I never really like viewed it as something that I was like into until I saw cabaret auditions, and then I started like doing my research, and then of course I watched Glee a ton when I was younger, so seeing Leah Michele I guess would be a good person to look up to, and Funny Girl, but that's kind of the stuff that I grew up with, and it's intermediate.
Okay, I'll accept that. And I'm actually in prior to that, when you were talking about not necessarily knowing any big stars and so forth, I actually liked that answer because it means you're focused on where you are and you're looking at the local scene. And one of the words that's used so often on this show is collaboration. And you will find that, a number of those people have been in other productions outside of the Premier Playhouse. And vice versa. And it's just always so great to see what does take place and to know, like with Casey Schultz, you got a shoulder to lean on and so forth. And I really can't, I'm sure there might be somebody out there, but I can't think of anybody that I wouldn't want to do a project with.
Right.
It's just like, that's a solid entertainer, performer, or producer, director, what have you. And it's just we're very, very lucky in this community.
Yes.
Not just that it's collaboration, but also the fact that we've got a huge amount of talent.
Right. I mean, I would have never, if I would have never gone into cabaret or even continued on a Young Frankenstein, I would have no idea, because my parents, they go to the Washington Pavilion productions,
right.
They have season tickets for that, which is wonderful. They always have wonderful shows there, but I would have never known that we had such incredible talent in the community, because I haven't been immersed into that community before, but just taking a step back and just looking at all of the people that we have, just even in the Premier Playhouse and Goodnight Theater Collective and all those people around us, it's incredible.
All right. My final 2 questions are coming up in just a moment, but I have to add, with your voice and your outgoingness and so forth, do you karaoke?
I love karaoke.
Yes.
I love it. We actually, as a cast, about half of our cast of Grease went to karaoke at Shenanigans one time when our very own Ebony was hosting it, and it was a hoot and a holler and a half. It was so much fun, and I had never gone that hard at karaoke, but it was so much fun. I love karaoke.
What's the go-to song for you?
What's that one song? That Carrie Underwood song. Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood. I couldn't think of the name, but that's usually my go-to.
That's it. All right. Mine's Mac the Knife.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Solid. Go for the old
solid
standards.
Choice. Yeah.
Second would be Luck Be a Lady Tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go. I got those 2 down. All right. Final 2 questions. Sometimes your answer to question number 1 means we don't need to ask the second one. But when you're not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Anything on Netflix. I'm such a huge fan of Netflix. Other than that, probably TikTok. I spend a lot of my time on there. I find a lot of cat videos. I always send them to my sister. But even just like posting singing videos and stuff, it's so much fun. It's fun how much you can learn on social media.
Oh, true. And beyond that, then, any other hobbies?
Kind of just chilling at home,
hanging
out with my cat. I love, at work I do the ropes course. That's a lot of fun, and just kind of just hanging out.
Okay, all right. Well, we're glad that you spent 8 weeks plus, actually. The last 2 weekends hanging out at the Premier Playhouse because you did a fantastic job as Sandy in Greece.
Thank you,
Madi. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. I appreciate you.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics. Bisque, studio time, or finished custom items are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in Sioux Falls today.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to those great guests, Jayna Fitzsimmons and Madi Gerhart. And of course, thank you for listening, downloading, sharing, following on social media, and those cups of coffee. They help out. If you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, which automatically gets you entered for Pizza with a Podcaster. For all 186 episodes, go online, DaveHollyHour.com. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramics, Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.